right, so that's me. We had a last-minute cancellation last night, so I decided to give you guys your money's worth and put together a PechaKucha. Any of you know my PechaKuchas, I like to do them hand-drawn. I don't believe in making computer images, so you're going to see 20 hand-drawn slides. With that, let's begin. So this whole thing took about 6 hours from the start of concept to completion. We're going to talk about the mason jar, the unofficial history and non-sanctioned uses. They're also known as ball jars, cur jars, and weck jars. Did I say that right? Yes? Yep, weck jars. All right, so this is by me and others, and I'll explain kind of as we go along. I'm a huge fan of the mason jar. I've been using it for about 2.5 years now for pretty much everything. So that's me, and every day here at work, I drink about 4 liters of tea, and I drink it out of a mason jar because I can take less pee breaks that way because I don't have to get up as often. And so that's me walking through the hall, and this lady who works here came up to me and called me a hipster for drinking out of a mason jar. She's in the back right over there. And I took offense to that because I don't consider myself a hipster, even though I have a lot of those qualities. And anyway, I talked to my wife, and along we went, and I had an idea. She didn't really like it, so then I kind of changed it. So we're going to kind of split it between the typical uses. So in 1908, storing food was invented. 1855, Mason patented the shoulder seal jar with a zinc screw top. So food goes in, you put it in a water bath, and you don't die. So now we have the zombie apocalypse. And this is where my end of it comes in. So 1865, zombie ant fungus was identified. This is a real thing. I'm not making it up. Humans share about 60% of their DNA with the fruit fly, and fruit flies share about 76% of their DNA with the ant. So you can see how quick that fungus could go from an ant to a fruit fly to us. So we are going to spend half the time kind of looking at the traditional uses of a mason jar, and this is a pincushion. So you just take a mason jar, you put some, what are those, bobbins? Is that what they're called? Yeah, bobbins inside. You take the metal part of the screw cap, you put a piece of cloth over the top, you stick the pins in the top, you have a portable pincushion. Pretty straightforward. So this is also your zombie triage kit. So when you're attacked by zombies and they make off with your leg, you can get a little peg leg, and then your friend can come along and sew your arm back on. It's pretty straightforward. It's going to get a lot worse, I promise you. So this is a sprouting jar. This is something I want to try but haven't yet. Instead of a cloth, you use instead of a piece of cloth, you use a cheesecloth. You pour some water in and just enough seeds to cover the bottom of the jar. And every 24 hours for 3 days, you kind of change the water out. After that, 5 to 10 days later, you get seeds. And the cheesecloth kind of works as a ventilation system and lets air circulate in. And I'm a big fan of sprouts. But it also becomes your zombie MOLOTOV cocktail. So instead of a small amount of seeds, you fill the jar with seeds, you add gasoline, and it becomes almost like napalm. It kind of becomes sticky because when you're throwing these things around, you don't want it to spread everywhere. You want it to stick to the zombies. So your cheesecloth is your fuse. You light the fuse, and the rest is kind of self-explanatory. This is a fruit fly catcher. The order of these things gets pretty particular. So apple cider vinegar goes in first, then a metal funnel, cone side down, and then duct tape around the edge. And the fruit flies fly in. They're attracted to the apple cider vinegar smell, and they can't escape. I don't know why they can't escape. I just know that they can't escape. Duct tape is used quite often, too. So this is our zombie instant distillery. So you turn the cones upside down. You get yourself some core mesh and water. You boil it. You get yourself a condensing tube and another little mason jar, and that's called a thumper. And you fill that with ice water. So as the mash bubbles up, the ether evaporates before the water, and you get liquor. You get moonshine, pretty much. You seal it all with duct tape, so the little guy in the bottom had a little bit too much to drink. This is a fish tank. Right? This is probably the simplest one, but the order is very important. You do not put the fish in before the rocks. Right? So rocks go in first, water, then fish. You have a fish tank. And this becomes your zombie no-no can. This is my favorite. Anyone who has a dog or a cat knows what a no-no can is. When the dog or cat is bad, you shake the can at them and you say no-no, and it means that they're doing something bad. The same works for zombies. So when the zombies are doing something very bad, you go up to them with a very stern voice and you shake the can upside down really, really fast. But you take the fish and the water out first and you just leave the rocks in. I forgot that part. So this is a light fixture, right? Pretty simple. Anyone knows basic electric circuitry, you can do it. A couple screw holes. You screw the top to the metal cap, and you screw the light bulb into the socket. You stick it all together, and you can kind of daisy chain these around a room or around a porch. They're actually kind of waterproof and watertight because it's made out of metal and glass, so they work pretty well outside. This is your zombie taser, right? You turn it around, and you break the light bulb, and then you hook it up to 2 car batteries, and you push it around in the shopping cart because there's a lot of shopping carts in a post-apocalyptic world. Of course, and you chase the zombies around with this. That is why that gentleman is smiling. As you also notice, the zombies always enter stage right. They never come from stage left. So bakeware. Apparently you can bake in mason jars. I didn't know this, but you can make layer cakes, birthday cakes, and pies in a jar. So if you're a single person and you don't want to make a giant cake, you can put it in a mason jar. So you just need some fruit, flour, eggs, and butter. You make a pie crust, I guess, and you put it in the oven and you cook it up. Any guesses? Nope. Zombie chemistry lab. Right, so one of the things we all need is pharmacology, and a lot of pharmacology comes from mold and fungus, so you just leave the dirty pie and cake left in the thing, and you put it in your little thing, and you kind of boil it down, and you get penicillin. So here we kind of have our little scene where we have a doctor who set up this really cool, ingenious device, and those guys use the mason lights in the basement there, and they kind of come up through the zombies don't see them. This is the soap dispenser, another really simple one. So you just poke a hole in the metal cap, and you fill it with soap, and then you stick the pumpy thing on the top, and you get a soap dispenser that looks kind of cool. You can see the soap. I felt this slide was a little boring, so I decided to show you where to put it in the bathroom, and it goes on the sink. So that is your zombie acid sprayer. A lot of physics goes into this. So you push down on the bicycle pump, and it pushes the air through the one container to the other container, and then it pushes down on your 1 part water to 2 parts acid, and it comes out the pump top, and you stick that all in your shopping cart, and you stick it on the front, and you follow the zombies around. And once again, you can see that guy's very happy, and he has a bunch of like melting little zombies behind him. So we're getting to the end here, and this is the coffee mug, and this is pretty the most typical use for the mason jar in the office. Less coffee breaks because you can put 4 cups in a mason jar, so your employees don't have to get up. Managers pay attention. Cream and sugar to taste, and you can work longer, right? More coffee you give people, they're a little more hyper. We couldn't really figure out what to make that into, so we just decided that zombie apocalypse, maybe it actually is an apocalypse, so you might as well just enjoy a cup of coffee on the roof at the end, and that's pretty much what's going on here. So that is my PechaKucha.